Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem, good Erev Shabbos. Welcome. We have amazing material today. I'm very excited to share with you. Really incredible material. Parshas Vayeishev. This morning I want to do something a little bit differently. Before I do that, I want to bring you to today's email. Please subscribe to our email so you have all the latest information. There is now an Art Scroll sale, so you could get 20% off on all the books. You could get your Light and the Splendor, which is on Chanukah, Rabbi Meir Balanes, which has many essays that are relevant to Chanukah. Be'ezus Hashem, you could join us on Matzah Shabbos in the Young Israel of West Hempstead, or Sunday evening with Coach Menachem. Okay. I was in Art Scroll Studios this week for a few very exciting projects, and upcoming we mentioned the publication of the Ben La'ashri in Lashon HaKodesh, and as I was in the studio was the brand new publication of the book Miracle Baby of Rabbi Kushalevsky, and there it mentions how the Rosh Hashiva learned the Ben La'ashri as one of the schoolos he took advantage of to have a child, and he was miraculously blessed at 88 years old. And Art Scroll was so excited about this. Help us get this out in Lashon HaKodesh so that Be'ezus Hashem it could come out in English as well. Okay. We discussed an incredible phenomenon. This week I got a phone call from a Rebbe in Greater Washington with the following question: why does Parshas Vayeishev have every single pasuk begins with the letter Vav except for 8 Pesukim? Why is that? This is what Harav Chaim Bieberfeld asked me on behalf of his class of Yeshiva of Greater Washington. And I was actually very surprised about that. I was very surprised about that because, first of all, I was not aware that Parshas Vayeishev, every single pasuk begins with Vav except for 8, but I was aware that there's another sefer in Tanakh where every pasuk begins with Vav except for 8, and that is Megillas Rus. And I remember the Medrash says that Megillas Rus, every single pasuk begins with Vav except for 8, because to show that David HaMelech was born, and David HaMelech was Mahol on the 8th day. So that's what the Medrash tells us. But I remember seeing in the Chidah said that the reason why Megillas Rus, every single pasuk begins with the letter Vav except for 8, because the 8 Pesukim that do not begin with the letter Vav are Rashi Tevos Yeshaya Beis Aleph Lamed. Yeshaya ben Avram Levi, which is the name of the Shla HaKadosh. The Shla was the Neshama of Rus. The Shla HaKadosh had the Neshama of Rus. But I was not aware that Parshas Vayeishev has every pasuk begins with a Vav except for 8. Okay, so I took that for granted. Sure enough, I looked in the Rokeach, and in 2 places, the Rokeach in Vayeishev, the Rokeach on Megillas Rus, says that both of these Parshas, whether it's Vayeishev or whether it's Rus, every pasuk begins with a Vav except for 8. So this was not only the observation of this class in Greater Washington, the Rishonim say this. By the way, many Rishonim say this. Rav Chaim Paltiel, many Rishonim say that every pasuk in Vayeishev begins with a Vav except for 8. The problem was, many people started to ask me that it's not true. That actually every pasuk begins with a Vav except for 9. So I'm thinking, what's going on over here? Here it is. This is not just an observation of a class. The Rokeach says it. And my friend, Reb Zechariah Holzer of Miami, he showed me that the Medrash Lekach Toiv also says that every single pasuk in Vayeishev begins with the Vav except for 8. And I'm going to tell you what they are. The Medrash says, Tarti Belibi, Yesh ba beParsha zu, Chaf Beis Vayihi. There are 22 Vayihis in this Parsha, Keneged Chaf Beis Oisir Shel Torah. That Yosef was chazak in all of them. And in this parsha, every pasuk begins with a vav except for 8. The siman is Eila Av Kakab. Not corn on the cob. Eila Av Kakab. Eila Aleph Lamed Hey. Av Chav Chav Beis. And they are, and the Medrash Seichel Tov lists them. It's amazing. The Rekach seems to be referencing the Medrash Seichel Tov, Medrash Lekach Tov, and he doesn't say what the 8 Pesukim are. But the Medrash Lekach Tov says what they are. They are, you ready? Eile Toldos Yaakov. That's Perek Lamed Zayin Pasuk Beis. L'chuvenim korenu la'yishmelim Lamed Zayin Chav Zayin. He mutseis Lamed Ches Chav Hey. Einenu gadol babayis Lamed Tes Tes. Ba'oid Perek Mem Yud Gimel. Kiyim Mem Yud Daled. Ki Mem Tes Vav. Ba'oid. Why? Why, says the Medrash? Why are there 8 Pesukim? Lama Kenegen Hamila. Kenegen Mila that was given on the 8th day. That the whole Parsha, okay, it's Kenegen the Mila. The whole Parsha are one Achen Vayin after another. That's why everything begins with a Vav. Everything in the Parsha is a disaster. Vai. Yosef was sold. Vai. Eshes Yehuda died and his children died. Vai. Eshes Potifera. Vai. Beis Asurim. Vai. Sarise Paroi. Vai. Except for 8 Pesukim that are happy. And that is when Osnas Bas Potifera was Zoicha to connect to the mitzvah of Milah. So the 8 Pesukim that don't begin with a Vav are the only 8 happy Pesukim in Parshas Vayeishev. The problem is, friends, by the way, the Medrash also says every pasuk in Rus begins with a Vav. Why? Because Rus was misdavig with Boaz, was also a mahol. Fine. But the problem is, the Medrash forgot about the pasuk. Ein sar beis hasoyhar. Roya es kol mumiyadai. Ein sar beis hasoyhar. Roya es kol. Why doesn't the Medrash quote that pasuk? It's mamish apella. There are really 9 Pesukim. And it's hard to know the answer to that, but I will share with you. You know, if it would not have been for the Medrash Lekach Tov, you could have said it doesn't count the first pasuk of Eila Toldos Yaakov Yosef, either because that pasuk is also a little bit of a vai, because it says Vayava Yosef as Dibasam Ra'el Avihem, or because that pasuk is just an introduction to the Parsha. But in any event, my friend, Rabbi Zechariah Holzer, suggested that these 8 Pesukim, which the Medrash Lekach Tov says is Rashi Tevois Eila Av Kakab, could be unscrambled to spell out something else, which is out of this world. You ready? It could be unscrambled to spell out Avoy, I come, B'chol, on every Chav Hey, the week of the 25th of Kislev. The Rashi Tevois of the 8 Pesuk, of the 8 Pesukim that don't start with Vav are Avoy B'chol Chav Hey. You could bet your bottom dollar, I come every 25th of Kislev. You'll have Parshas Vayeishev. Avoy B'chol Chav Hey. So this is somewhat of a Davar Yafa B'itai, because the Rashi Tevois, if you unscramble them a bit different than the Medrash Lekach Tov of Eila Av Kakab, they could be unscrambled to spell out Avoy B'chol Chav Hey. Moreover, what's amazing is the gematria of these 8 Rashi Tevois, Avoy B'chol Chav Hey, is 81. And with the 8 letters is 89, Chanukah. So the 8 Pesukim that do not begin with the letter Vav, the Rashi Tevois of these 8 Pesukim is 89, is Chanukah. So that is a unbelievable Remez to this incredible idea that Parshas Vayeishev, like we said Monday night, Wednesday night, that there's a parallel between Vayeishev and Megillas Rus. In both Parshas, by the way, in Rus, there are 85 Pesukim, Keneged Milah. And what's interesting is, in both Parshas was setting the stage to build the Malchus Beis David through the mitzvah of Yibam, the Yibam of Yehuda and Tamar, the Yibam of Boaz and Rus. In fact, the Sefer Maser Rekeach says that the reason why Masechta Yevamos is in plural, because there were two great Yibums in history that built the Malchus Beis David, Yehuda and Tamar, Rus and Boaz. Marv Rabbi, that is offering number one, the great phenomenon of the 8 or perhaps 9 psukim in Parshas Vayeishev that do not begin with the letter Vav. Here we go.